at Uncapped, we provide banking products for digital entrepreneurs. So what really compelled me to join Uncapped is that they're the first in Europe to provide revenue-based finance. And I thought that's such a better way of financing a company compared to like the traditional products. Because if you go to like venture capital or traditional bank loans, they either require you to give up expensive equity, or in the case of a bank loan, it can take a long time and it's not always available, particularly if you're a fast growing startup. You just don't have the track record that they require. So I saw Uncapped, saw what they're offering. I thought, brilliant business, want to be a part of it. I joined just back in January as Chief of Staff, and we've already tripled the members of the team. I've not told many people this, but when I was at university and just afterwards, I applied for hundreds of grad schemes, internships and apprenticeships and didn't get anything. And that was a really hard time, and it was incredibly frustrating, and I was really about to just give up. But one of the last applications I did was the New Entrepreneurs Foundation, and through that I managed to get a role at Uber, which really kickstarted my career. And although all that rejection made me incredibly resilient, it did spark this fire in me, and since then I've really wanted to help people who have been in a similar situation. So I'm always open to help anyone who's really close to giving up when they can't get their first step on the ladder. Chief of Staff is quite a new concept, I feel. I started first seeing this role a few years ago, and I thought, as an aspiring founder, like I've known for a long time that one day I want to launch my own company, that this kind of a role really suits that kind of person. So in my career today, I've tried to build up experience in lots of different areas. So I've worked in product teams, commercial teams, and in operations. And I feel like this role allows me to bring all that expertise and skills into one place, but with the added benefit of working directly with the founders to really scale an organization. I think those two things really meant that Chief of Staff role was a perfect fit. And in terms of how I got it, I just kept my eye on any Chief of Staff roles, and I'd heard of Uncapped because they used to be a client of mine back at TrueLayer. And so I loved what they were doing, and it just seemed like a good fit. And I managed to get a referral into the business, and then went through their standard interview process and managed to get the role. Yeah, there really is no typical day, and that's why I really like the role. It's incredibly varied. So I guess the reason why is because the Chief of Staff role, at least at Uncapped, is to plug the gaps in the business. So I really own what doesn't currently yet have an owner. We might be hiring for those positions for me to hand over some of this stuff to, but what that means is that day to day, I could be working on anything from a deck or financial modeling for our next fundraise, working closely with the product teams to improve our underwriting, really anything. So working on sales decks. What's really beneficial though about my current role is that I'm not in back-to-back meetings, whereas the founders might be. So any business critical work that needs to be done, I can take care of that throughout the day. And I also really prefer that because I've been in roles where you're in back-to-back Zoom meetings and it's incredibly tiring. It leaves you no time in the day to actually get your work done. So, yeah. So I think it's the kind of role that really lends itself to a generalist. So you need to have lots of different skills. The most important ones, I'd say, starting would be, you need to be comfortable with ambiguity. So the people you're working with are going to be incredibly busy. So you need to be able to problem solve and really run projects based on very little information. I'd say, secondly, it really helps to have great analytical skills. And thirdly, being highly organized is a big benefit because you're going to be juggling lots of different and important projects for the business. I think like a little tip I'd give as well is that if you're not part of a team, which I'm not, but perhaps in some places you might be, it can be quite a lonely role. So it's really important to be passionate about what the company's trying to achieve and really get on well with your colleagues and want to learn from them in order to get you through those difficult times. So my top tip would be to send your CV to JBM. But seriously, I'd say you need to think about what you want to learn first and foremost. So for me, it was all about how do I launch and scale a business. So it made sense for me to apply to an early stage company as Chief of Staff. Whereas if you want to learn about complex organizational challenges, or how to exit, scale up, then it makes more sense to apply for a role at a larger, more mature organization. And I've seen all types of companies now offering this chief of staff role. I think you also need to do a bit of self-reflection. So you need to think about what skills you currently have and what skills you might need to get a role like this, and really work on the skills you don't have, or create a story around how you're working on those things. But other than that, I think just don't give up. Like, I've been trying to be a chief of staff for 2 years now. When I was applying initially, I probably in hindsight wasn't quite ready for the roles, but sometimes you just need to be patient with this.